But the Supreme Court, if we don't reform the Supreme Court, it will be Republican control for everybody listening for the rest of our natural lives.
That's right.
That's the truth. It will be for 20, 30, 40 years, this control where they can take rights away, where they're going to fight for corporations over people because they're a political entity. Tom, I tell people, you don't need a law degree to figure out where the Supreme Court is going on the hot button issues. Look at the GOP position and they'll reverse engineering to get there.
I'm wondering, as a Muslim who's living in New York City or in the New York area, consuming New York media, is it true that there's a bunch of billionaire money flooding the airwaves with anti-Muslim hate?
Tom, I got to be honest with you. Look, I know there's anti-Muslim bigotry in America. It's not new to me. I didn't think in 2025 it would be attempted to be weaponized as much as it is here in New York by Andrew Cuomo. And at first, Cuomo just laughed along with the joke on WABC when Sid Rosenberg said about what if, Zoran's on another 9/11 happens, he'd be cheering it. And Cuomo laughed and reaffirmed it. And Sid Rosenberg in the past, he called Zoran an animal. He's very anti-Muslim bigot. And then Eric Adams, the mayor, saying anti-Muslim stuff while endorsing Cuomo was kind of stunning to me. And then now we've seen ads. Last night, there were so many ads funded by the pro-Cuomo super PAC, funded by Michael Bloomberg and other billionaires. And many of them are Jewish and rightly have called concerns about anti-Semitism. But now they're trafficking in open anti-Muslim bigotry as if, people are not going to remember this. It's very hate-mongering. It's not going to work. I mean, I don't think it's going to spike the vote up against Zoran. The turnout was remarkable at early voting, and younger people came out in percentages much higher than 2021. So the polling is going to be, again, destroyed by that over-turnout by one demographic.
Yeah. From your lips to God's ears, Dean. And it's kind of ironic, given that Muslims from the Middle East and Jews are both quote Semites, that you've got a Jewish billionaire sponsoring arguably anti-Semitic advertising against Muslims. I mean, I realize it's a more of a language distinction, but splitting hairs and all that sort of thing. I have a legal question for you.
Here we go. Let me begin billing. Let me write my timesheet so I can bill you.
There you go.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Chuck Schumer said he might file a lawsuit against CBS for heavily editing Trump's interview, and he would use the same language Trump used when he sued CBS. A caller called into the show the other day and said, "Well, can I sue CBS? I'm the one being damaged here, aren't I? As a voter. Who would have standing to sue, or do you not even need standing in a civil suit like that? And wasn't really the whole Trump lawsuit against CBS just kind of cover for his blocking the merger deal that they wanted to do, that Sherry Redstone was so desperate to unload this thing, and the Ellison family wanted to get into the business and all that kind of thing? I mean, it really wasn't about anything that CBS did. Am I right about that?
Yeah, there's no legal basis to sue a TV network because you don't like the way they edited a TV show. In what world is that a cause of action? In what world would that be allowed? Like, I'm going to sue Friends because I don't like the way they edit it from camera 2 to camera 3 on that one cut. It's insane. Or that you didn't like the content of a show. Well, you churn the channel. That's how it works. Donald Trump's claim, the reason he argued he had standing, is that he was injured. For standing, you need a concrete injury. It cannot be something that's theoretical. So literally has to be like concrete affects you personally. His argument was he was the candidate against Vice President Harris, so it hurt him. I don't really think he had standing, but the case was never truly litigated. It was a BS case from the start. It was just a way to shake down money from CBS during the merger and to try to make other networks self-censor and not say negative things about Donald Trump or he'd sue you. That's all that was about. So that was an average viewer suing a network. You're not going to have standing. If you find a lawyer who will sue, it's like a press release lawsuit. You could do that. You'll get some press. It'll get dismissed. As long as there's a good faith basis, at least arguable, the lawyer will not get sanctioned and the litigant won't get sanctioned. But if there's really no good faith basis whatsoever, you open yourself up as a lawyer and as the litigant to potential sanctions from the court. So I'm not aware of a basis to sue, but I'm saying if you're a lawyer, come up with something creative that is grounded in law and it's arguably in good faith, then you could do it. You're not going to win. I mean,
well, you're my lawyer. What are you charged to do this? It's,
What? It depends. I don't want to. I'm on the retired list, so to speak, because you have to take classes every year and stuff. So I haven't practiced law in years. But you need someone. Now I could represent myself. I could sue them. There's no standing. Like there's nothing. What's the injury I suffered by that? I can go watch it online. Trump didn't even have standing. But look, it's a game. I mean, Trump was shaking down the media.
Well, what if I told you most collagen products aren't just a waste of money? They're loaded with toxins that could lead to skin issues, heart problems, even cognitive decline. Scary, but it's true. See, collagen is the most abundant protein in your body, and your natural supply drops as you age. And that's why so many people your age are turning to collagen to relieve joint pain, rebuild bones, and even look years younger. But here's the catch. You have to know what to look for, or you could end up doing yourself more harm than good. So before you buy another tub from Amazon or your local store, go check out the top 5 collagen warnings every American needs to see, along with a special offer. It's a quick read that could save your health and your wallet. Right now, get a special bundle deal at a fraction of the retail price, plus free shipping. This offer is only available at getnativepath.com/Hartmann. That's get, G-E-T, native path, P-A-T-H, getnativepath.com/Hartmann with 2 N's on it. No, he was shaking down 2 very large corporations that wanted to participate in a $1 billion deal that was going to make millions and millions of dollars for many of the individuals involved. And I'm sure they were all greasing his palm one way or another, but well, I'm not sure, but given other situations, it wouldn't surprise me. You had just an absolute blockbuster piece that you wrote for your Dean's Report, for your Substack newsletter, which I highly recommend, about reforming the Supreme Court and how Democrats need to make this a top priority. I realize, and I wrote a piece yesterday about how single-payer health care, the time is now. People, given everything that's going on with the Affordable Care Act and the subsidies and everything else, that probably there's never been a time, certainly in my lifetime, when more Americans were more pissed off about the state of the insurance industry, and the even the response to the murder of the United Healthcare guy, and the kind of semi-deification of his killer. But both of us, I'm guessing, get criticized for saying, well, good luck, you have no power whatsoever. But we really do need to be talking about what the Democrats should be establishing as priorities as we go into the future. I think that there's a very real possibility we will get power back. And lay out your case here.
Look, I think everyone listening probably is on the same page as us right now. Democrats need to reform the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is no longer a court. Like when I went to law school, it was a court. And there were opinions sometimes that surprised you, but it was based on the law. Over time, it's become more and more of a political entity. Right now, today's Supreme Court isn't part of the apparatus of the Republican National Party. Just so the same way we want to take back power in the House or the Senate or the White House, we must want to take back power from the Supreme Court. Supreme Court controls so much of our lives, Tom. I mean, look what it did. It took away a fundamental right women had to reproductive freedom in the Dobbs decision. It strikes down laws that save lives from gun violence, that in the Bruin case here in New York, making it harder for other states to pass laws to save lives. What it did with campaign finance, you've covered, we've talked about nonstop. It's hideous. So the point is, even if Democrats pass things and get control for campaign finance, this court will strike it down. Want to codify Roe v. Wade? This court might strike that down as well. The only way to even the playing field, to ensure we have a court again and people have confidence in it, is to take the politics out of it. And that's by expanding the Supreme Court and then allowing it to go forward with, to me, it's about expanding. People have reform, whatever you want to call reform, it's fine. But Tom, if a Democrat's running for president in 2028 is not committing to reform the Supreme Court, they are telling you they are not willing to take the fight where it's needed. Because you could pass all the great legislation in the world. This court will strike it down. And they know that, and we know that. So we've got to take the fight to them. It's got to be one. It has to be it's not the issue. It has to be up there in the issues because people get it. Democrats finally get the last few years. The Supreme Court's important. Years ago, I don't think we did. Now we know. So it's got to be taken. It's got to. We have to win that back.
Yeah, in my book, The Hidden History of the Supreme Court and the Betrayal of America, there's at least one and maybe 2 chapters devoted to Franklin Roosevelt in 1937. Threatening, or in the election of 36, threatening the Supreme Court because they were literally on the verge, and everybody expected that they were going to strike down Social Security as being unconstitutional. They had just struck down the minimum wage as being unconstitutional. And so FDR just went after him. I mean, he was like, we're going to pack the court. And his idea was to have everybody who was over 70 be forced into be renamed justices emeritus. They would still receive a paycheck. They would still show up for work. In aggregate, they would have one vote, all of the justices who were over 70, which at that time was 5 of the 9 justices. And then he would add 4 more justices to bring the court up to 9 votes, which would in effect expand the size of the court. Republicans went hysterical, but most people will tell you today that he had no chance of passing it. I did the deep dive on the research, and he had a very good chance of passing that. People were furious with the Supreme Court. And it was just that pressure, his threat, that caused one of the justices, Owen Roberts, as I recall, to change his vote and start voting with FDR, which flipped the whole vote, flipped the whole court. And that was referred to famously as the switch in time that saved 9, that saved the 9 justices. Right. But I think this should be a political issue. I think that the Democrats need to be pounding on this.
They do, and polling shows that Democrats and independents do not trust the Supreme Court any longer. Even Republicans weren't trusting it when they did marriage equality a few years ago. But the Supreme Court, if we don't reform the Supreme Court, it will be Republican control for everybody listening for the rest of our natural lives.
That's right.
That's the truth. It will be for 20, 30, 40 years. This control where they can take rights away, where they're going to fight for corporations over people because they're a political entity. Tom, I tell people, you don't need a law degree to figure out where the Supreme Court is going on the hot button issues. Look at the GOP position, and they'll reverse engineering to get there. They're going to do it, and they're about to gut the Voting Rights Act. They're going to gut it to try to give Republicans a permanent majority in the House.
And they're also about to reverse Obergefell.
And they could do that very well. And look, they don't change their beliefs. Republicans, they just change their tactics.
Yeah.
So they want to get rid of marriage equality. They've not changed their views on that. So look, if you're not going to make it one of the top issues, you're telling me you're not really serious about change. You're not serious about fighting for our rights. You're not serious about taking money out of politics. And single payer, Tom, this Supreme Court would strike it down because it hurts big insurance companies. The only way you want single payer, you've got to do it where you've got to reform the Supreme Court.